But here it is like so many binds are there from so many people. Whiteboarding is a big aspect of a leadership. Again, how do you, as leaders, you want things to move quickly, but whiteboarding is part and parcel of decision making, and it's very difficult to contain yourself and to feel, let us do this whiteboarding again and again.
Huh. So just a moment, let me check. Okay. So, hello guys, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of the InstaHire Roundtable. This is a place where ideas and leaders meet, and today we have a very special agenda, the agenda of the evolving role of leadership in a changing business landscape. Before we start, a little bit about us, what we do about InstaHire. We are a platform which allows companies to find talent with 10x more accuracy and 10x less time compared to any other solutions in the market. We work with companies like Google, Amazon, Walmart, Uber, PayPal, Salesforce, and plus 10,000 plus companies, very large MNCs, unicorn startups, and recruitment agencies also. So, with that, we come to the start of the session. And before we start, I would like to call upon Ashish. So, Ashish heads the human capital at Cradlewise, and he is our guest today. So, over to you, Ashish. A brief introduction about yourself for our folks.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sabajit, for the invitation, and thanks, Joseph, for organizing this. Folks, good to connect with you on a wonderful afternoon. I am Ashish Banka. I lead the people function for Cradlewise. Part of the tech industry for over a year, and overall 15 years of experience into the people function. I believe over the years we have evolved as an individual, where we gain a lot of experience, and we gain a lot of exposure while we interact a lot of them. And I think I've been fortunate enough to interact with a lot of industries across, and also courtesy my initiative, HR Sampark, which allows me to interact with a lot of HR leaders day in, day out, and we do a lot of culinary events together. I think today what we are going to talk about is my journey, how it has evolved coming from when we start. I think a lot of people who are in the HR field who have grown from a very rock bottom will be able to associate my journey, because what I will talk about, it will be in phases, that what you think when you are in different phase, and what today we will be trying to gain out of it. That's what I have heard, learned the hard way. I think my learnings can become experiential for all of you, where you can take help out of it and do the things which we might have done once we have experienced that setup in the future through very difficult or challenging experiences. I think that is what the entire idea which we will be trying to put it forward, to do the things right now when the times are not that tough as an individual.
Okay. So, my first question for the session for Ashish will be: how have your leadership strategies evolved from to navigate the ever-changing business landscape? And before the call, before we started off, we were talking about how Ashish has changed from like very large companies to scaling up startups, and then a lot of differences in the mindset and in the culture of two companies. So that is my first question: how has your leadership strategies evolved to navigate the ever-changing business landscape? So what do you
Sure.
ask?
Thanks. So I'll narrate a story about it, which will later, there were three people who were breaking stones in a palace.
Okay.
And these three people were breaking stones, but they have different thought process and ideologies, and they had different behaviors. So the king who was making them work called a saint and said that these three people are breaking stones, but they are different. So they asked one question to each of them, and the responses were as follows. They asked that why you are breaking a stone. The first person said, "Can't you see I have to feed my family when I go back in the evening?" The
Hmm.
second person went that I have nothing to do in life. I have to do something. That is why I am doing breaking stain. The third person was self motivated. He thought that, something is being developed, so I am giving my contribution towards it. The saint came back and he told that same person with same kind of work have different mindsets. One is angry, one is despair, one is motivated. I think what the saint told the king that what they require is mentorship, Sabita.
Okay.
And with right kind of mentorship, how we changes a vision and we get a mission towards the life is he went to the first person and explained him why you are in despair. Think that you will go back in the evening and spend time with the family. I think eat together. I think that is one motivation for you. The second person you is in despair and he's not happy. So you say why you are unhappy. You are able to do something in life at least. And
Hmm.
the third person who is self motivated, you bring everybody all together. You don't feel yourself. I think leadership journey for me has been like that. When I started coming from Calcutta, from a very remote part where
Okay.
we were low economically standard and we never thought where the career will go. That time
Hmm.
leadership was all about how you sustain, जियो और जीने दो. उसके बाद
Okay.
after 5 years you realized oh you have moved on to the hierarchy in the Maslow's. So now you have to move away from safety security and you have certain requirements. And then the leadership was about bringing people together. And now, when you reach at a self-actualization level after 15 years, when you do not have dearth of a lot of necessities and requirements in life, today what you want to contribute is an impact to the society because we are having a finite life
Hmm.
and technically finite life of self-awareness. After 60, when your life, body does not give cope up to you, what
Hmm.
leadership you will say? You will
Hmm.
only give right kind of advice to the young people. I think for me, I look at it that initially when we start our careers, what kind of contribution are we trying to impact to our personal life, to our family, to the society, and to the younger generation which we are coming?
Hmm.
I think these four parameters, if we balance out initial level, the percentage
Okay.
will differ over a period of time as you grow, but you will always feel motivated. Most of the people, leaders, they feel so down at times due to the, because the motivation levels go down because the balance disturbs of all these. The family requirement sometimes comes up, your individual requirements comes up, then you have synergies which are not getting along with the companies sometime or the
Hmm.
external people. But in all these, I think we all of us, the first leadership we should develop is we should get a Arjun. We should get a Krishna like a Sarthi who can drive us like Arjun in this battlefield. If we
Okay.
have the right person across, life will be very easy and very less challenging.
Okay. Great insights, Ashish. I think the young folks who will be listening to this podcast and also our live will draw great insights from this. So we move on to the next question. Can you share some insights into the essential qualities you have cultivated to foster innovation? So innovation, as we think, like it's very important right now, not on the basis of technology but also on the basis of soft skills and people practices, or people success, as we can call it. So can you share some insights into the essential qualities you have cultivated to foster innovation in your leadership journey?
I think I got the feedback at the right time,
Okay.
Sanjeev, because
Okay.
that was very important. We
Okay.
first need to realize what is our blind spot. आप
Okay.
अगर किसी को पूछोगे तो वो बोलेगा पुनिच भगवान है. The caliber to realize our shortcomings is very difficult nowadays,
Hmm.
and it was difficult earlier. Now today's generation is much faster, so it is even difficult.
Hmm.
I think what we should do is when we hear from people on our blind spot, on our improvement areas, I think that is what we realize. And everybody will not say the same thing. When I started initially, I used to get first important that I was not a good listener.
Hmm.
I used to jump onto the conclusions very quickly. And I used to speak a lot of threads simultaneously.
Acha.
I think these were the two things which I have worked upon over the years as leader, as you have grown, and worked upon good listening skills and keeping the thread of the discussion aligned and cascaded in one line.
Hmm.
That was one thing which I have been working across continuously.
Hmm.
It is a difficult skill, but I am working. Second important leadership skill I think I gathered after COVID, which was empathy. You look
Okay.
at people as if they are needing your help, and
Hmm.
as a leader you need to demonstrate empathy to them to understand that what challenges they are facing. They might be incorrectly judgmental about it, and I think the most important thing is knowing them that what is their challenge and can you feel that pain or not.
Hmm.
And the third important thing which I feel is communication. Something, if it is not said it is not heard. That is what I believe. So everything has to be documented in black and white, and between the lines nobody understands nowadays, and nobody has the time. जो जैसे बोलते हैं ना मार्केटिंग में या सेल्स में, जो दिखता है वो बिकता है, वैसे ही what is said, what is heard. So,
Yeah.
and the fourth important thing which I believe is very important for us is understanding the people.
Hmm.
So connect with the people. I think Sampark really built that synergy to me, and I thank to all the HR leaders who came across this journey over a year, which we have been building across. I think
Hmm.
great insights when people come across, and you have to take everybody along. जैसे मोदी जी बोलते हैं सबका साथ सबका विकास, तो
Yeah.
वही लीडरशिप में है कि आप, if you want to run alone or alone, you will just move further. If you
Hmm.
want to move ahead, you have to take people across. So I think these are four important things which, on a leadership angle, on and these are innovation. Why I say innovation to answer your question is you are innovating in yourself.
Hmm.
When you
Exactly.
realize it is not there and you are innovating in yourself, I think it requires a quite a considerable effort to innovate your, uh, natural instinct and build out something better based on the feedback. So
And it also involves like continuous learning and improving
correct,
yourself.
absolutely, absolutely. I Kaizen is so important. Continuous learning is so important in life.
Okay. So, Ashish, in your experience, how do you balance maintaining core values while allowing, say, adaptability and growth and versatility, flexibility? So, core values is one thing, and then according to situation, there is adaptability, and with growth, everything changes. So, your thoughts on this?
See, honestly, I will just narrate. This is very personal to me, and I am
Okay.
sharing this with all of you. I will not expect this to be replicated, but I think we as leaders or we as professionals,
Hmm.
we get greedy very soon. Like we have an expectation, and then we start a career with certain expectation, then the framework keeps increasing, and
Hmm.
our demands. The vicious circle of demand, expectation, and your in terms of need is a
Hmm.
very circle which is can't fulfill all the time. What I have did in my career over last few years, since I've lost very few close ones in my family,
Hmm.
I've realized that we are living a finite life, and I've developed towards a millennial mindset, moving to a minimalistic mindset.
Hmm.
So in that minimalistic mindset is that you do a double take on your expectations which you had decided, and then those core values are that how can you develop and contribute towards the fraternity or
Hmm.
develop towards the people. I think this is the most important core value which is there, because we all of us are guaranteed of 2 square meals a day till our end of life.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
What we require more is, generally we have to think through, is that actually a need, or that actually a necessity, or that's actually a demand or expectation. So for
Okay.
me, I believe in the core value of really building people together and bringing them together and helping them. And this is what my entire periphery across in the family, personal life, in the professional life evolves around. And I believe that if you progress on this, nothing wrong will happen to you.
Hmm.
We all come across difficult, challenging situations in personal and professional life. But one important thing is, with this kind of thought process, you create a very good quality circle. What I am today is a refined version of mine due to the quality circle of the HR leaders whom I have always been across, thriving.
Hmm. Hmm.
If you would have heard me before 5 years, I would have sounded a very typical normal professional who is,
Hmm.
expecting his career growth, and it's all more about I than he. But if
Okay.
you thrive with the right kind of people across, your values keep changing, Sarbajit, and the values here is to help people, to contribute towards the society, to build a legacy of yours, so
Okay.
that you are known towards helping people. I think that is the core value which I do that, and that is the entire revolving around in personal and professional life.
Okay. Understood. So, Ashish, this brings me to the next questions. So, you have worked in different sets of organization and who have entirely different culture and approaches to solving a problem. Right now, after the pandemic, we have seen remote work getting in, and then there is hybrid work, there is remote work, there is on-site work also. And as we as we were hiring during COVID, we can hire due to remote work. We can be fluid, we can hire from any place around the globe. So what are the methods have you employed to build trust across this different work environment and also team dynamics when it comes to this kind of remote, hybrid, or on-site teams working together?
The first thing which you said, Sarvajit, is I have worked in different industries. Yes, I in last 15 years I have worked in 10 industries.
Yeah.
और हैंड टू माय हाथ ऑडियंस, मैंने ना कभी प्लान करके नहीं किया, अपॉर्चुनिटीज था जो मिलते गया वो लेते गया. But
Okay.
Cradlewise is the first company where I've really chosen this company to work with after
Hmm.
14 years to come into an IT domain and learn the IT
Hmm.
nuances. I think over the period of time, the geography, the industries, everything changes, and if your domain is same, then you keep learning out of that as an
Hmm.
technical ability. We have seen where we have worked 6 days during my Reliance days, and then we have worked 4 days in Qatar Airways days as well. Now we are working in a hybrid opportunity in Cradlewise. And
Hmm.
delivery we saw working at the warehouses because it was part of a logistics industry. I think each company has a different culture, different dynamics, different people, different skill set. As an individual, as a HR leader, which I believe is most important thing, is what is your value system and is it aligned or not. I have changed jobs frequently because the need and the necessities were different. But over a period of time, is your value system changing or it is aligning to an organization really plays an important part for your sustenance and a long tenure. I think that is most important thing. And how do you define culture and people uh, is you are fine and I am fine. That is the mantra. End
Hmm.
of the day, most of the people, if you want to go to a vicious circle of building your pedestrian approach towards sabotaging the existing employees or your team, I think that's a very wrong phenomenon which we should work. We are here in a finite life. I keep repeating finite, finite because I realized life is so unpredictable. Today we are there and tomorrow we are not. So end of the day, as a leader or as a mentor or whomever you are working across, what kind of persona do you want to build with them? Do you want to create an environment with them they feel comfortable? Somebody asked me, and I believe the biggest definition of an HR, successful HR, is if you walk to somebody, he does not stand up from his chair and revolves around and say, "Hey, how can I help you?" I think this is where we want to achieve. I want to achieve as an HR leader, where people are not intimidated by the role or the designation. They are intimidated by the contribution which I make to difference their lives.
Hmm.
In terms of most importantly in building team synergies, delivery had a team of 150 people which I worked with. I believed all of them were equally different and everybody was unique. As a leader, you need to identify their challenges, and that is why I say mentorship is very important. Move away from managership and move towards mentorship, because you have to understand everybody is unique, everybody is not as competent, everybody is not as skilled, but everybody is important for an ecosystem.
Hmm.
And as a leader, you need to motivate them. The only way you can inspire, motivate them to get the work, I think this is the only way. If we don't do that, I think you will never be able to build a followership. And that is very important for a leader, to have a followership, have a participative style of management, have people contribution, make them feel part of the success. I think working last 2 years with delivery and Cradlewise, I think these have been immensely contributory to me as a leadership styles
Hmm.
and building up the teams together. Look at people from contributing them to evolve them to be a better.
Hmm.
If we are not helping as leaders to make people better, whether my leaders are not helping me to become better, I
Hmm.
think we are not moving in the right direction, sir.
Great, great answer, Ashish. So, so can you elaborate on the fact that your approach? Okay, what has been your approach to harmonizing immediate needs with a vision for the future, like say short term versus the long term or the future goals?
See, honestly, it's you're asking about future, which I can't say anything, Sarvajit. So I
Okay.
have very little to say. But what I want, honestly, an expectation in terms of present and future is what mistakes have you made should not be
Hmm.
repeated again. That is one.
Hmm.
Second, as an individual, you should be clear what you want in what space of your life as a
Hmm.
professional, as an individual, and you should work towards that.
Hmm.
If your expectation is monetary or moolah, be clear about it.
Hmm.
Most of us are like, we behave like animals in the kingdom, is like cat. We drink
Hmm.
milk closing eyes, thinking that nobody is seeing us.
Hmm.
I think most of us should be address the elephant in the room. Realize, there's nothing harm if you say I'm money minded. There's nothing harm if you say I'm not money minded. There's nothing harm if you say I don't like to work more. Nothing harm if you say I want to slog more. It's an
Hmm.
individual perspective. So don't shy away from being yourself.
Hmm.
There is one, one exercise which I did in a college, JERC, in Jaipur, where we did a couple of, we got a small group of students and we did a mechanism called knowing yourself. So I
Hmm.
think as an individual, we should know ourselves. If we know ourselves, trust me, guys, individually, I'm saying the sorrows and the happiness will always be at the same level.
Understood. Understood. So, this is the last question which we have from my side. Then we'll move on to the audience Q and A. So, how have you blended your understanding of like human dynamics with the business objectives or imperatives in your leadership role? So, you can answer throughout, like while in other companies and right now in Cradlewise.
See,
Over to you.
I started working with business leaders at a very young age with Voltas during my
Hmm.
Tata days, and
Okay.
where I will take the names and take the liberty to take the names. So I was closely working with Mr. Ashok Kumar Shah, and he was a business leader who was managing. I have seen his leadership styles where his expectation from business or HR was very different to nowadays when I have worked with. His
Hmm.
leadership styles very different. He was expecting so that we can be compliance ready. There should always be manpower on time. So there were a lot of transactional requirements which he was there. I moved on from there and moved to Qatar Airways, working with Henry as a business leader. I believe that he was more into inspirational leadership. Is everything done as an O&M or not? The targets which are given are achieved or not? I moved on from there, and then I moved on and worked with HR leaders, couple of HR leaders whose expectation was innovation. How are you able to bring innovation in employee engagement?
Hmm.
Coming from there, again moving on and working with business leaders like Rajesh Mittu in Compass Group and in Delivery, the co-founders,
Hmm.
their expectation was completely very different. In Compass, everybody was looking out for the people empathy part of it. In logistics, we were looking at the customer centricity part of it, and everything revolved around the customer experience. In Cradlewise, Radhika, my CEO is a great leader. So now we talk about customer centricity part of it, how we can create. So I think what I have understood over the period of time with different business, different leaders is
Hmm.
their style and their expectation revolves around the business needs. As a HR, as a people leader, I need to understand what is the business need, what is required, what is urgent, and then deliver according to that. If we are not doing our pace according to the business need, we are sure shot get to fail, or it will be a misalignment. The most important thing, three things which I feel should be important. One is the business alignment. What is the business need and where are you as your deliverables? Second important thing is what is the important and urgent at that point of time. If we talk about what has to happen in 5 years now, and now the need is very different, I think then we will not match. And the third important thing is your investment towards the business leaders to understanding them. What are they expecting? What are they needing?
Hmm.
Because you have to work with them, and their alignment with you as an individual is very important.
Hmm.
If that is not there, then again you might be the best of the people leader, or you might be best of the business leader. We will not be able to build our synergies together. I think it's all about collaboration and collectiveness, Sarbajit. I think every business is different, and we have to align ourselves to the business.
Understood. Great. So, Ashish, with that, we come to the question answer part round of the audience, which we have like discussed with. So, they have sent their questions over emails and over other forms. Now, I will have some few questions from them, which we have handpicked for you. So, the first question from Ravi Sharma is: in the era of remote work, how have you kept the essence of team alive?
Let me give you an example, Ravi. This is a good question. Let us think that there are relatives whom you don't meet for an entire year.
Okay.
And when you meet suddenly them in a marriage or some occasion or festival,
Hmm.
how do you behave with them? And if your answer is very normal, I think that's how the answer for me is normal.
Hmm.
End of the day, you might challenge me saying that the relatives are a different phenomenon and the employees are a different phenomenon. See, we talk about companies being families.
Hmm.
I understand everybody has their own prerogatives and need, but as an individual, how you are looking at people whenever you talk to them, are you making the one thing which two things which I do is I speak to most of them on regularly fortnightly basis,
Hmm.
just hello hi, or even if you can't talk, just a WhatsApp is important. Where you have large head counts, you definitely need to do a fortnightly town hall or a meeting.
Hmm.
The people need to be aware that you are there as an HR. If they forget that you are there, then your existence will go really remote.
Hmm.
But you need to make your presence felt and visibility there through the messages, through town halls, through motivational messages, through some stories. They should feel you are there. And nowadays we don't require people really to chase and see what they are doing. If they require help, they will definitely come back to you, but please be visible. You just do your bit to be visible, rest everything will be taken care of.
Okay, great. So I think Ravi, you have got your answer. With that, I move on to the next question from Priya. What's your secret to fostering a culture of continuous learning, or continual learning, and personal development?
Priya, that's a good question. I will start with the Hindi phrase, "Aap bhale to jag bhala." So, it sounds simple, because as I said, individuals are different. Today, I might be eager to learn and network.
Hmm.
Somebody would like not to network. Somebody would like to do an experiential learning. Somebody might like experiential learning against a classroom setup of learning. So everybody's ideologies, culture, thought process is very different. We can't jacket them into a same uh, framework. But one
Okay.
important thing which I feel, if you are an HR professional or any other professional, the biggest asset in nowadays is network. If you have the network, it's like LIC, जीवन के साथ भी और जीवन के बाद भी. Your network is your defining existence in this professional world. If your network defines you well, I think you have the right kind of mentorship at each point.
Okay.
Don't guarantee success or jobs with network. Network
Hmm.
is for the right kind of guidance with right people. And if you have the right quality people across you, I think you failure percentage will be very less.
Exactly. Great insights, Ashish. So I move on to the next one from Rohan. Rohan Verma. He asked that could you share a transformational strategy that helped you adapt to unexpected industry shifts?
I'll definitely give an example of Cradlewise, Rohan here. Is when I joined from a larger headcount to an organization which was a startup. And initially, I was trying to do a lot of things. One thing which I learned is in a startup, you have to take a baby step.
Hmm.
Things do not change through thrust, they change through trust. So these, I took a little time to understand and align this to the expectation of the business and the people.
Hmm.
And I think that was the biggest learning as a transition there. You When you work with large startups, you try to do a lot of things, speed and change, but you need to understand that everything has his own time. You have to take buy-in from people, you have to have a participative kind of approach. You just cannot say that I will change everything. It's not I, it's we. And I think working in the startups last so many years, this is something which I have learned, that how do you transform yourself from an I to we. The sooner you do it, I think you are more uh, placed well for success. Otherwise, the challenges and the adversities will be very high. So
Okay, great. So the last question from the side of the user is from Neha Agarwal. Neha asks, "What practices or philosophies have guided you in building resilience during uncertain times?" It's a very pertinent question during this time. So, over to you, Ashish.
I think life has last few years have been very challenging and very difficult, unexpected. First due to pandemic, then due to personal some losses, then due to understanding the career strategy. I believe there are three things which I did and I keep doing, understanding that.
Hmm.
One is building your network of the right kind of people,
Hmm.
because these becomes torchbearers for you and they avoid you to going into a loop or failure.
Hmm.
Second is knowing yourself better, knowing your strengths better. I was told by one of my mentors, Partho, that you have certain strengths and weaknesses in each one of you.
Hmm.
If you want to, after a certain age, if you want to build your strengths and become it so big that it covers your weakness, I think that's a better ploy rather than working upon your weakness and just making it a satisfactory stage. So I think working upon your strengths is very important, which you know which what is your superpower. And third important thing is being aware, being realistic. You have a life which is beautiful. End of the day, you have beautiful family, you have beautiful people around you. Do you want to build these synergies in despair and being into a stage where you feel unachieved and unsuccessful, or you want to feel the story which I shared in the first is there is a silver lining always end of the day. So my appeal to all young folks, HR folks, because I have grown in this field, and to all other departments also, please be happy.
Hmm.
Whereas my life is always brutal, it is like a heartbeat, always highs and lows. You will never get something as a straight line. Today you might see, when I started, we used to stay in a rented low economical background, and today you look back in life, and I thank for everything what has happened into this lifetime. I thank my parents, I thank my friends, I thank my leaders, I thank my acquaintances, I thank everybody who has participated in this journey along with me to growth. I think let's celebrate life rather than looking at it from a success and a failure prerogative. दो टाइम का खाना तो आपको मिल जाएगा, यहाँ नहीं मिल जाएगा तो लंगर में मिल जाएगा. But I think most important part for us before we say goodbye to this earth is our contribution towards lives of other human beings. So
Great.
that's
So very very thoughtful phrases by Ashish, and with that we come to an end. But I have a bonus section. So Ashish, we have talked about recruitment, recruiters, HR. Now I would like to call you on the other side of it, the candidate side of it, and wanted to have a few tips. Like this is a particularly difficult time for job seekers who are looking out for their dream job or for looking out for their job during this time. So any three, two to three things we want to say to the job seekers, which we can broadcast to them with our, like, we have a database of around 25 million candidates which can really learn from your tips and techniques. So any two three things which you want to say to our job seekers?
sure. So I think first of all, build your social media profile well.
Okay.
That's the first significance or interface which you get. The second is connect with right kind of people over social media. I think this is very important for everybody to build a visibility across. Also, map the companies which you want to work and reach out to their leaders or HR leaders or business leaders to keep yourself presence felt as and when they have a vacancy. Post relevant stuff on social media end of the day, so that you are known for putting the right kind of context. And most important thing is with your visibility. If you are an engineer, you should have a GitHub profile, you should participate in hacker rank, or you should have a flow stack profile. If you are a designer, you should have a Behance profile. I think most important thing is nowadays the lives are tough, and I am very confident that all of you will get a job, but it is just aligning the right kind of job to your competencies. And most important thing is, don't be jobless, because if you take a pause and want to start your life again as an entrepreneur or as a freelancer, keep that aspect also in mind, not only in the aspect of jobs. Try to create jobs also through entrepreneurship mindset. But my most important advice to everybody is, even if you don't have opportunities, do something or other. Just do not show a gap in your CV, because the Indian context, we are a overpopulated country, and definitely always the supply will be more than the demand. So with navigate this is, most important thing is what you can do apart from the job, if you're not doing that, to keep yourself livelihood or actively engaged. Second is, even if you can't do simple, start teaching. A biggest contribution to somebody as engineers, which you can teach to certain people. But don't be idle. The more you become idle, the more you become rusted. And most important thing is, nowadays, if you are well networked and you have the right kind of people across you, you don't have to worry. You always will find a way to the success.
Great insights, Ashish. I think it will help a lot of folks out there. We had a great session. We had everything for the recruiters and a lot of very good pointers for the job seekers. And I thank you, Ashish, for taking your time out of your schedule and coming on the platform and helping others and sharing your secrets with the whole folks. So this discussion will be available live and also will be sent over email. So thank you, Ashish, for joining in.
Thank you, Sarvajit, for this invite. Thanks, Jushe, for this coordination. I really enjoyed the discussion. After a long time, I got an opportunity to uh, throw out my thoughts, with no filters. InstaHire is doing a great job. It's a very good platform for a lot of HR folks, and I wish you and your team all the best in your future endeavors, Sarvajit.
Sure. Thank you so much. And likewise, have a great day. Have a great week ahead. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you so much, Abhijit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye bye.